Hits the pound.
Yeah, this is how we do it in the Central Coast, man. We got 40 ounces, Old English, rag tops, 6'4" Impalas, and bikini girls, man. This is how we do it on the West Coast. San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles. But don't forget about the Central Cali, man. Please don't forget about the Central Cali. Yeah, get 'em.
It's another sunny day in the state of California. Low rider palm trees and G's that put it on ya. This ain't a negative, we speaking ebonics. Rank talk, candy paint on D's with hydraulics. Baseball hat with the sticker on the brim. Don't let the sun blind your sight, cause things can get grim. But I'm not here to talk about banana clips and guns. We're going back to Cali and we're gonna have some fun. A West Coast domination.
And welcome back to Two-Face Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Segura, out here in Monterey County, also known to the world as the Salad Bowl, also known as the Salinas Valley. To the people in LA, we are north. To the people in San Francisco, we are south. Right smack in the middle, best of both worlds. Don't forget about the Central Cali. Anyway, folks, today we're going to talk about a situation that happened to me back in 2003, 2004. The struggle is real, man. I was looking for a job at the time, and we were having a pretty tough time. So I was like, man, just going through it. So one of my friends, man, shout out to the homie Rocco, man. I know, thank you for the love and support, man. You know what I mean? Love and respect to you and your family, my brother. So anyhow, shout out. So he calls me out, right? He says, hey, man, Fred, why don't you apply over here where I'm at, you got to go through the temp service and yada, 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 right? It's pretty cool right here. We'll be working together. We'll be here and it'll be cool, right? So I worked with them before at jobs, and, man, those people must have really thought something of us. There was a day we didn't stop laughing for like 8 hours. I thought they were going to drug test us, like, for real. But anyhow, man, shout out to them, man. Much love and respect. But anyhow, and I said, not that we were on drugs, it's just like we just have this chemistry where we're just laughing all the time. We're talking a lot of trash and it's funny. So that's just kind of this. So no, there was no drugs involved. Anyhow, so he tells me it's just the old social security building in Salinas, dude. Go upstairs, first door on your right. I said, all right, cool, man, I'll do that, right? So I go, man, this lady's there at the desk, and I said, hey, you know what, I came to put an application for, the temp service. She goes, oh, okay. So she goes, sign your name and everything like this, like a little thing, right? I signed it. I said, all right, cool. So I'm expecting paperwork and all this other stuff, right? And she says, you know what, okay, come back tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, 8 o'clock in the morning? Like, what's the deal here, She says, oh, no, you got to do the tomorrow to sign in, right, to do the whole thing. And I was like, okay, like, I didn't think much of it. So I do that. The unfortunate was that my wife had to do, so we had to do something. So she goes, well, I'm going to go with you, And I'm like, all right, cool. So we went. And I took her, and our son was still a baby at the time. And then I took my nephew Eddie. Shout out to Eddie Vega, man. So we go, and I think we took our dog Jada, that we had, a weedy dog that we had. So anyhow, we go, right, and then so I'm thinking, well, I'm gonna fill out an application. It's gonna be super fast, and we'll get it out of the way, and that'll be that, right? So anyhow, I go in there, and the lady tells me, okay, sign in your paperwork and stuff like that, right? So I sign in, and then she says, okay, she goes, go sit down over there in the back. And I'm like, sit down in the back? Like, and I turn around, and it was like 2 big rooms made into one. And there was like desks, like student desks and stuff back there, and I was like, I go, but I'm just here to fill out. She goes, yeah, no, you got to go over there to do the rest of the thing. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, right? I'm like, all right. So I go and sit down. A couple of other people, some people were there already, and then there was a couple of other people. And I was on time. I was early. So I'm like, we're waiting for it to be like 8 o'clock. And people later on, they showed up, and there was quite a few people and stuff. So the instructor comes out. There was I forget how many of us. There was quite a few of us in there. But anyhow, not exaggerated, but there was a few. So the instructor comes out. I want to say maybe between 7 and 9 of us were in there. So anyhow, the instructor comes out and he's giving us all these instructions, right? Talking to us about, applying for a job, what to expect at a job and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, like, dude, just, in my mind, my mind's just going like, come on, bro, just get, just give me the application, bro. I don't need to hear all this. Like, I already know what to do. So they end up showing us this movie, right? And it's about, the work environment and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, man, like, they're really taking it back to the basics on this, man. Like, dude, I don't need to see all this. Like, they went really, really back. So I'm like, man, whatever. So it's like they had this, I forget what it was, but they had these guys in hard hats and these smocks and stuff, right? And they're working in the warehouse, and it had like Bob the employee. I'm just saying that. I forgot the name of the guy. But anyhow, Bob the employee, and the supervisor comes and talks to Bob and tells him that he needs to stack the boxes different and this and this and that. So Bob gets irritated, and then he starts to get angry and starts to get closer, like in a fight mode to the supervisor, and then it pauses, right? And then it's like, sure, is this the way Bob should react? And I'm like, and I'm thinking in my head, like for real, dude, like, come on, bro, like, this is kind of crazy, And then it goes on, of course, naturally, to tell you what you should properly do, that the supervisor's there for his reason, right? Whatnot. So I'm like, okay, cool. 2 hours go by. They said, take a break. Smoke them if you got them. That's what they would tell us. I was like, all right, cool. I don't smoke. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So I go back to the lady where I signed in at, and I tell her, hey, excuse me. I go, how long is this whole thing? I go, because I got my family out there. I thought I was just going to fill out some paperwork. She goes, it's still 4 o'clock. I go, 4 o'clock? Like, what the heck? So, needless to say, I go down and I go downstairs and I go out the door and I go and tell my family, like, hey, look, it's going to be till 4 o'clock, And, again, we were in need of, the struggle's real. We were in need of a job. I was in need of a job. So I was like, hey, do what you got to do. I said, hey, don't worry. We got your back. I'm like, all right, cool. So I go back and I'm just going through the motions with it, man. I'm just sitting there going through the motions with it, just going along with it. But in my mind, I'm like, dude, this is stupid. Like, come on, bro. Like, I don't need to know all this. This is just basic stuff. I know what to do. Of course, you're not going to go off on the supervisor or whatever. Like, come on, bro. So, anyhow, I'm there, and lunchtime comes around, right? So my family and I, we went down to the street to Jack in the Box, and then I call my friend, right? I called my friend up, and I said, hey, dog, like, he says, hey, what's good, bro? Did you get in when you start? And I'm like, nah, bro, they're having me go through some classes and stuff, and I'm talking to him, right? And he's like, classes? I go, yeah, dude, I don't know, whatever, right? He's all like, what the heck? Like, are you serious, dog? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, man, they must be doing it different now. Like, what are they telling you? So I'm breaking it down to what basically I already said, right? And he's all, man, not with me, bro. I just went in and filled out the application and left. They called me the next day, or they told me right then to whatever it was, right? And I'm like, damn. So I don't know, dog. Well, whatever. So needless to say, we hung up. I finished my lunch, and I go back, I go back and go upstairs again, my family's waiting, So I go back into class and I'm sitting down again, this is already, went through the first break, I went through lunch. So I'm sitting there and the instructor's talking away, again, I'm just like, God, dude, like, come on, man, like, this is just, come on, dude. So break time comes, the last break comes in, right? And he says, okay, break time, guys, smoke them if you got them, So, we go downstairs, a whole bunch of us, the whole class basically, So we're sitting there, I'm sitting down outside or standing, whatever it was, we were outside. So this one girl, she's smoking a cigarette, right? And I'm just sitting there, like, all right, whatever. pretty annoyed, to be honest with you, because of everything that was going on. I'm like, when you're in the need when you're in need of a job, but they're making you jump through hoops. It's like, it was driving me crazy. Like, man, come on, dude. Like, this, it can't be that hard, you know. So I'm like, dude, like, all right, whatever. So anyhow, at the end, in the middle there, like, the girl smoking the cigarette, she's staring at me, right? She's staring at me, and I'm looking at her like, okay, well, like, what's up, man? What's the deal, man? Like, and she's all like, so how long were you in for? And I'm like, what? She goes, how long were you locked up? I go, what do you mean? She goes, yeah, how many years did you do? I go, years? What? I go, no, I don't do years. I'm just here for a job application. She goes, you're here for what? I go, I'm trying to get through this temp service to get a job over here at this one place, right? And she goes, dude, this is like a rehabilitation that people have done. I think it was 5 or 7 years in prison, and it was to bring them back into society. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, dude. She goes, this is not it's not a temp service. It's just a thing. Like, we all come from like a halfway house, and stuff like that. And I'm like, what the heck? So I go in, we all go in, and now I'm like, now it's all coming together in my head. Like, oh, dude, like, okay. Like, okay, I got it now. Like, I understand, Now the picture's very clear. And, in the middle of it, right when the instructor started, I said, hey, excuse me. And he kept ignoring me. And, and excuse me. And he kept trying to, like, like, hey, just like, not right now and stuff. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I told him, hey, you know what? I got to go, man. And he was all like, he goes, hey, look. Then he stopped. He stopped in the middle of everything. He says, you know what? He goes, well, I can't force you to stay here, Fred. I can't force you to stay here, but I really wish that you would stay. Because I don't want you to get back into some trouble again or get into some stuff that you shouldn't be getting into. And I said, no. I said, I'm not supposed to be in here. And he said, what? You know what, Fred? It's natural to feel that way. It's natural to feel that way. I get it. We understand, However, I wish you would finish the program. And I'm like, no, dude, you don't get it. So I started to walk away. I said, I gotta go, man. I gotta go. And he just kind of looked at me and he was like, he's all, you know what, Fred, can I tell you one thing? He goes, I can't stop you from walking out of here. He goes, but I could tell you this much. I just pray to God that you make the right decisions. And I was like, okay, thanks, man. Like, thanks, but I gotta go, So I ended up leaving. I get back to my truck. At the time, I had a truck. And I tell my wife and family, and they start busting up. Right. So I call my friend. I said, hey, dog, like, I was in the wrong place, and da-da-da-da-da. He goes, yeah, what's the first door on the right? So, okay, so what it is now, see, and I've told the story before on this channel, but it was just audio, so you guys can understand now. It's a building, right? So there's a door in the front of the building that you can enter the building through. And then I believe it goes like in a loop, kind of small loop, and you go upstairs. And then there's a door in the back that you walk in through, and there's stairs that go straight up, right? So when he said the first door on the right, he meant you go in through the front door, go up the loop on the stairs, go down the hallway, first door on the right, right? Well, I didn't. I went in through the back, went upstairs, and the door would say it's over here, right, down the hall, at the end of the hall. I went upstairs and went to the door on the right this way, to the last door in the hallway. So that was the confusion. So that's what ended up happening to me, that I was, I was in the wrong place, for that. And the guy really thought I was a convicted felon. I mean, no disrespect to anybody going through their hardships in time. I understand, but my situation was funny. I thought it was funny. It was just it just seemed like it was a complete waste of time. I later went and applied, and it was super fast, and I got through there real fast. And everything, since then I everything got better for me. But either way though, talk about being at the wrong place at the wrong time, or walking into something that you know nothing about. And I was clueless for about 6 hours, and that's really it, man. Anyhow, guys, with that, guys, this is Two Fish Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Segura, signing out.